Good morning. Okay, I am back with another coloring book review. This is another one of Dr. T, Theresa Davis's books, Vintage, and it's put out by New Creations. And it's a fairly good-sized books that she puts out. 60 grayscale images from around the world on this one. I will tell you, I'm trying something different with my lighting. The last video came out a little more blue, so bear with me as I try to figure out what's going on. I think part of it is because we've changed lights in the house to the LEDs and they leave a blue cast. So I've opened all the curtains and changed the setting on my phone, and we'll see. So just bear with me. All right, you can see the originals on this Facebook group, New Creations Coloring. And so that way, if you want to see what color the original pictures were, you can go there. So it makes it easier. Here's a little bit of her foreword. Just be sure and read it. There are copyright laws, even if you own a book. And she touches on that here. And she does give you permission to print these out on your own paper as long as it's just for yourself. And that's pretty awesome because the paper, it's not always the best. Here's the thumbnails of everything that's in it. So I do like that she does give that permission right up front in the book. So we're going to do a thumb through here. And I'm purposely not laying the pages flat because I don't want somebody to be able to just copy these pages without having to pay for the book. You know, an artist goes to all the trouble of making a book. You need to not steal it, but actually pay for it. You can find her books on Amazon. And I'll be sure and show the very back of the book too. That way you've got the front and back to go by. Any other information that may be in it. I'm thinking, let me go back one. There's a crocheted afghan here. I'm thinking all the different colors you could put in that. Grayscale, some people are really afraid to tackle grayscale. And I want to tell you this book is one of the better ones to start in it for, just because there's such a variety of pictures in here that I think you would find something that you were in love with to be able to color. Okay. Grayscale is not hard. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Any photo that's been taken and grayscaled properly should be pretty easy to do, because the darks in the picture are where you're going to put your darkest colors. The lights are going to be where you're going to put your lightest color. Yep, that's one I've already started. So now I've seen some people draw grayscale and then try to just add the grayness to it. If they don't know what they're doing, sometimes those grays are in the wrong spots and it really can mess you up. The darker areas need to be in the shadows and stuff. She does leave you blank pages here so that you can try colors together if you want. This is your scan code if you need to use that to help you look it up. Here is your ISBN number. That will also help you to find this book. She has many other books. I've already done one of these. I think it was flowers that I've already done. And I'm going to do mix yet and birds. So watch for those in the coming weeks. But these are some of her brand new 2017 books. Now, when I get ready to do a grayscale, and I do want to touch on this so that you're not as afraid of it, I grab my pencils, and these are my Marco Renoirs. I get my color swatches, and I'm going to find, and I just decided to do this one in oranges, I'm going to find a dark, a medium, and a light. And I did do that, and I pulled the pencils that I picked. These swatches I make for all my colored pencils. And I actually sell blank swatches with a metal thing instead of the circle here. It actually twists together, so I don't have a problem of it just popping open. And the swatches are all cut to I think it's a 1 1/4 by 2 is what I'm doing. And then they are all hole punched. So, but then anyway, that's on my Etsy, and it just, to me, makes so much easier in picking colors. I am going to zoom in, so hold on, don't get dizzy. But I want to zoom in on this. Come on, let me zoom. There we go. Can I get the one? There's the one I've already done. Hopefully that's coming in focus for you. I just want to go ahead and show you that it's not as daunting as you might feel. So, and the colors you pick are going to make a difference too. This is number 16, number 28, and number 32. I know that's kind of blurred right now, but anyway. Oh, there we go. So that's what I'm using. And I'm going to try to keep my hand out of here so it focuses on the page. But I would come in, and I'm holding my pencil way back so that I cannot put a lot of pressure on it. Because the more light layers you have, just the better it's going to turn out. All right, so any of the light areas are going to get this lightest color. I am very heavy-handed, so the lighter I can go, the better chance I have of my picture actually turning out. And this will stop bouncing in a minute. Goodness. Stop. Anyway, the better chance I have of a picture not turning out really, really dark, because I am heavy-handed with my pencils. I've learned that I really have to hold that pencil further back. But anyway, those lightest areas, I just did light. Now that's a leaf, so I really want to leave that alone. And when you're actually looking at the book in person, it's a whole lot easier to see. Now I'm going to go in with my darkest and get all this dark in. And I don't know why it keeps, oh yeah, I do. It's bouncing because the ceiling fan's on, and just that little bit of air is causing that to happen. But our house is old enough that if I turn that ceiling fan off, it may not come back on again. So you're going to have to just bear with me on this. I am in the process. Now see, that might be a leaf. I'm in the process of cleaning up my art junk room. So eventually, hopefully, I can go back to videoing in there because I have a big, huge window with natural light. Now this might have been a leaf, but if I color it the color of the rose, it suddenly becomes a petal. So when in doubt, color it whatever you want. If it's green, it's a leaf, and everybody's eye is going to see it that way. So don't worry that you're coloring something the absolute wrong color. It's not going to matter. And here you can see I'm just putting in the darkest of the colors, just going along, finding the darkest areas within this little flower. I do not go through and do all the darks on the page at one time. Okay, it is just too easy to me to get lost on what I'm coloring. So I will do it section by section, flower by flower. All right, and that's pretty well got those darks in. I'll go just another layer here in those back areas just to make sure they're really in there good. Okay, because in a minute, instead of using a blender, and I got in that one just a little, not to worry, that's why there's erasers. No coloring police, don't stress over this. That's where it's flipped, it's going to be darker there. So, yeah, just don't stress over your coloring. If you start stressing, then coloring is not doing for you what it's supposed to be doing. But yeah, I will use the lightest of my colored pencils that I'm using on this flower as a blender. And I'm not going to do this whole page for you. Now I'm changing to that middle color, that number 28, and I'm going to fill everything else in, because by this time I should have nothing left but the middle shade. And I'm going to overlap that dark some and just start doing some blending. I'm not going to overlap the light too much because I want that light to stay light. Now, can you see the tooth in that paper? All those little spots are the tooth or the grain in the paper. And that's why it takes so many layers. That's why when you hear someone say, oh yeah, I put on 6 or 8 or whatever layers of color, that's why, because they were getting rid of that tooth in the paper. And whereas this paper is not the best, and that's why she says you can copy for your own personal use, it still has enough tooth that I am able to put on several layers of color. And you can see here I'm just adding in the color, working in my little circles for the most part. I find little circles is what works best for me. If I'm doing a leaf, you may see me work in more straight lines. And there are times like right here where I'll go around. But for the most part, I find it easier to blend with circles. So after you feel like you've gotten at least one layer of color on everything, that's when I'm going to change back to my lightest color and I'm going to start blending. See, some people may just stop right there and go, oh, but it looks so pitted. How did you get it smooth like over here? And that's where this lightest shade comes in. And I could even go a lighter shade if I wanted, but I'm okay with this. So you have to pick and choose what works for you. And see me moving down on the pencil a little? I'm hoping that doesn't blur the picture. It's because now I can put a little more pressure on it, because now I actually am pushing the tooth down on that paper, or I'm burnishing and really setting that color in. There comes a point when you can no longer add color, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Trying to get all that blended. See how that's blending? Each petal on its own. Don't just take off and do the whole thing. Do each petal, each section on its own. Do the same thing with leaves. Okay? And I'm not going to take a long time, like I said, and do this whole page. I just wanted to show you in this particular book that it's not something to be feared. And see, this petal is actually wrapped around. This is on top of this. So what I'm going to do to help get that effect is I'm going to move back to my middle color and blend. Whoops, see, I pushed too hard and have a little bit of pencil pop off there. I'm going to go back in and put some more dark in here. Do you see how that just pushed that to the back? And then I had to stop my circles so I could actually pull that around and in. I can add more of that here, but I'm adding the medium, not the dark. The dark would just be too sharp of a color with everything I've got going on. I've got that dark down there in the bottom layer. And see how I got more depth there? See how that one's already looking so much brighter than this one? It's because on this one I didn't do any of that adding. I just did this blending and then I left it alone. I just want to show you the difference. Some people don't even come back and do this blending, but then they'll kind of wonder, why their picture looks, like I said, so choppy or flat. I'm coming back to the middle color again and putting this in. And that middle color just kind of helps pick up that first layer of color that we put in, that darkest, and just kind of makes it all pop. So even though I've already blended this one, I can come back in here. Watch how this is just gonna, it's almost gonna come alive. See here? Just by adding some of this middle color back in, and I can still see where my deepest grays were in this grayscale, so that I'm getting it in the right place. And see, that's the wonderful thing about grayscale, is it shows you where to put that color. And not only that, grayscale just is going to look more realistic when you're finished. And some people really like that, so that can make it a little more fun too. All right, see there? And these two even still look very different, even though I use the exact same pencils, because they are different flowers. And just in nature, even on the same rose bush or the same bouquet, you're going to get some variety in your color. All right, so I hope that helps. And you just do that for the entire page. All right, let me see if I can zoom you back out. Am I able to do that? Oh, I am. So there are 2 roses now finished on this page. All right, wood grain the same. You want to see just a bit? How are we time-wise? Okay, you've got just a few minutes. I try not to go over 30 minutes on any of my videos. Where are my browns? This is what my head goes through when I pick pictures. All right. Forget sometimes where I put them. So I'm going to come up and grab my pencils, and I'm going to look at this. And I know I need a couple, 3 colors here, and then a couple here where they get even darker. So I'm going to pull, it would help if I had these in order. I've used them so much that they are no longer in the order that they started out in. But, okay, 47, are you here? Here's 47. And then I'm going to do 48. Because that's good together. 48. So I know I'm going to use these 2 together. And then I want to go to something dark over here on this edge. And thinking 45 might do it. That might be what I need. So, you know what? I think 44 is more in the color family here than 45. So let's put that back. And let's go to, what did I say? 44? Because I've already pulled 48. So let's pull 44. Yeah, this is what I go through every time I pick pencils. Now, another reason I do these color swatches, look at the barrels on these. That does not show you a true representation of what these colors are. Okay? Because 44 is actually the darkest one. But if you look at the barrels, number 48 looks a little darker to me. So that's another reason I hold these in color order, so I don't have to go back and look at the actual pencils while I'm going. Okay, on this, let's just do a little bit really quickly. So the lightest area, and you'll be able to actually see this when it's your book. I know it's a little hard to see here because you're looking through the camera. All right, lightest color. And then here I'm only using 2 colors in this, or I'm going to try to. We'll see if I have to pull in a darker. Okay, just got that color on. I'm going to go back to the lighter one. Do some blending. And again, I'm doing lines this time instead of circles, because wood grain is lines. You would do neater than this. You would get all the way down to those edges. All right. Then as I move around over here, I'm going to use the darker colors. I might use this lighter color just a bit, but because I'm going around the edge, I'm going to go mediums and darks a whole lot more. And even if your picture is a little blurred, you can get in there and do those colors. All right. And then it's going to be the darkest all the way around here. See how dark that is? Just getting that color in there. These grayscales are a little hard to see, but once you get going, I think you'll be okay. Now I'm still going to use the lightest to blend this. And if it gets too light, I will come back in with the medium color like I did on the flower and just kind of spruce it up a little. But see how this is darker and this is lighter? It's because it's going to get darker as it goes around. Okay? And I've probably got a good 20 minutes worth of work to do on this. So let me just do some of it while we're waiting on my phone to kind of time out here. I have it kind of set so I don't go over. I really don't like making the long videos and y'all getting tired of watching. Okay, so I'm using more of the light color over here with the medium. Whoops, this is actually, yeah, this is the medium. Thought at first my colors had gotten twisted around. If you want to add wood grain, let's say there's not enough in here for your liking, just remember choppy strokes down and then come back up. Do a little curve at the bottom, and that adds that little, like the knot hole in it, and will just help you out a little. And I'm going to do some over here. Then I'm going to come in with the darkest over on this part because it is darker over here. And then I will put a little bit in here. And I kind of went over that flower petal, but that's why there's erasers. I would go back in later and erase that. Okay, so just get your color in there and then come in with that lightest and do your blending. I almost always use my lightest to blend. I don't care for using colorless blenders because they're just moving the color around. Not to say there's not times when I don't use one. I own 2 or 3 of them because I got them when they were on sale. But it's not my go-to, because if I'm using my pencil, I'm actually adding color to that page and not just scooting around what's already there. So I'm actually filling in more of the little holes and stuff. Okay, so see how it's lighter here? It's getting darker as it's going around. And then I do the same thing going this way. Be lighter here. And again, you can see this easier when it's on your own page and not through my camera. Okay, then the medium comes in. This time's out. Remember, you can use the ISBN number, see if a bookstore will order it for you, or go on to Amazon, look for it there. And I will get to the other books that she has sent me in the next few days. Yeah, I have a lot of artists that do send me books to do reviews on, so I guess I'm doing all right with them. And see, I don't come much further up with this dark. Just keep it down here. And I can make this look like it recedes even further around by coming back in here and adding some more of this dark. Even though that section's done, I can still add color as long as there's tooth in the paper. And there's plenty of tooth in there to still add. So see, it's lighter here, darker there. These are also the colors I would use if I were making something gold. So I just would not overlap them like this in the middle, because this is what I do for wood grain. But yeah, I like that you can go on to Facebook and see those original pictures and what colors they are. I have not yet done that, so that might be something I would enjoy doing before I get going too far in the book. Make sure I'm actually coloring things the colors they would have been. Now the roses, I'm not too concerned about that, but if I were doing like an old gas pump or something, then I might want to follow the original colors on that. Now see, I'm just pushing this further back and around by making it a little darker. And again, putting those lines in will make it look more like wood grain. And I know this is the darkest, but I can come in here and just add a bit here and there, and it's going to just make it look even more like wood grain. So don't get in a hurry. I have hurried through these pages, or through these sections of this page, so that I could show you. But if you'll take your time, yours will look so much better than this. All right, so this is up close because this is curved, so it's lighter, and then this is darker because it's going around. And there's the roses we did. So, okay, I hope you enjoyed the book. Again, there's the information off the back. This is what the front cover looks like. All right, there's her Facebook site, and I will catch you later in the next book. All right, bye.